Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode, I believe, 8 of the In From Japan podcast, the podcast where we talk about all the latest news on Japan-developed games and other things in relation to them. Yes, I got the slogan down.
Okay.
I mean, I was reading it, but... we are available on Spotify, Podbean, and YouTube. Apple Music to be determined, and the other podcast services that you might be able to think of. Maybe we'll be on that at some point, too. I don't know. So we're gonna start with the games we've been playing. So I actually just finished Dragon Quest V last night.
Wow, that's big. Did you finish it on
Last
3DS?
boss is hard. Yeah, on the Nintendo DS version.
Oh, okay.
It's good. It has some dated gameplay elements, like oh crap! I forgot to start that. Oh well. Yeah, it has some dated elements, like when you cast Zoom, which is the spell that allows you to travel between different towns you've been to. It takes up MP, but in the newer ones, it doesn't do that. And then just other stuff like you have to change your party. You can only change your party lineup certain ways in certain areas. The way that items are managed is kind of tedious. I'm trying to remember, because I was telling my friend about it last night. I'm trying to remember what else I said. Costing you pain. On the monster taming aspect, it's kind of random. Not very good. Because it's like, you have to be a certain level above the monsters for them to want to join your party. And there's no... And other than that, it's kind of just random whether they want to join your party or not.
Okay, so it's not as good as you remembered it to be.
It was never... Well, the monster taming aspect was never that great. It just made me wonder, like, why didn't they try to improve and update the gameplay more?
Okay.
When they made the DS port. And then I've also still been playing Snack World. Let me get some of my notes here. Yeah, so I was mostly talking about the localization last time. So an interesting thing about that I learned is that the localization director, he localized other stuff like some Dragon Quest games and, you know, some pretty good localizations. Not saying that Snack World's localization is bad, it's just different.
Okay.
I just wonder if Level 5 just didn't care, it just was like, go do whatever.
I mean, that's the general impression I'm getting from this release, because I also listened to the NBC podcast and they said that...
Yeah, I did too.
That review codes weren't in, or were in late, so it's kind of like... I don't know, I don't want to say it, but it's like Level 5 fumbled the ball on this release.
Yeah, and then
whoever's doing
C and Mar over at GameSpot, he gave it a 4 out of 10.
Wow. That's...
But it was due to, he said it was due to, it had a lot of game-breaking bugs and some other like gameplay issues, which I haven't had, so maybe it was something with the review code or something. I just wonder.
Yeah, that's possible.
Because I have the physical release, and so I just wonder if, like, what happened there. But as for gameplay, that I didn't go over, so it's called Snack World because you have your party members, and your you have party members and summons, and they're all called snacks. I don't know why. That's really weird. But so the like character snacks you get from completing various quests. And then the other snacks you get by their enemies that you defeat, and then it'll pop up every once in a while. A like circle will pop up, and you can take a snack shot of them, and you have a limited amount of time to do that. And then once you do that, that enemy can join your party in other quests.
Okay, but all in all,
so it's kind of like a collectible aspect to it.
But are you still enjoying it?
Yeah, it's very much a you can pick up and do it like in bite size. You can just pick it up, do a quest or two, and then put it down. I wouldn't recommend it for like very long periods of time unless you just really enjoy it. Also, the other nice thing is they have your armor is based on utility and style gear, or the two different types of armor. So utility gear is what affects your stats, and then style gear is what affects your appearance. So you can be wearing a different style gear than utility gear, and I really like that because you can still stay looking stylish without
losing any
compromising your stats.
Yeah.
And then the quest-like system is very much like a Monster Hunter type thing. You prep for the quest, and then you select your party, and then you go on it, and then after you get your rewards and stuff like that. Which is another reason why I said it's good for bite-sized type stuff, type play sessions. And one other game I've been playing real quick, just a little bit because it's a mobile game and I'm not used to it and it doesn't run that well on my phone, is Dragon Quest of the Stars, which is out now. It's not bad. It's kind of automatic, where your characters attack automatically, but then you can chain combos together. I haven't played that much, so I don't have that much of a grasp on it yet. But it's fun, and I wish my phone ran it better.
What kind of phone are you running now?
An LG Phoenix, or an LG something.
Okay, so
it doesn't run terribly. It might be the game, because apparently the game itself has had problems after launch.
Have you checked in the settings if you can lower some of the graphical stuff?
Yeah, I should probably do that.
Yeah, because I remember with Regalia Lost, it was running fine on my phone, but I figured, I don't need that much resource hogging from a game, so I'll lower the graphics. And lo and behold, there was an option to switch to medium and to low settings, so you might want to check it out.
Yeah. So what have you been playing?
What have I been playing? Well, let's see. I have been playing the demo to Disgaea 5 on the Switch, because it was on sale, or it is still on sale. NIS America is having a big sale on the eShop, and I was thinking, should I pick up Disgaea 5 for $20? So I started the demo and played it a bit, and I was not impressed, sadly. I mean, it's highly rated, and people seem to love this series, and like, more power to them. But it just didn't click with me.
Yeah, I played a demo of one of the Switch ones, and same.
Yeah, it felt like a slower Fire Emblem, like very slow.
Like at that point, I'd rather play Fire Emblem.
Yeah, like you have to do every decision through a menu, and you can't. It's just so cumbersome to play in actuality. I mean, the humor is fun, the character designs is pretty neat, but yeah, it just didn't click with me. And for the most part of the week, I actually played Okami still. I haven't abandoned Final Fantasy 12, but I finally took some time to dive into Okami, and I'm really liking it. The only issue I have so far is that some of the gameplay design is dated. Like, at times it feels like the quest givers and the NPCs have endless dialogue, and it just keeps you from enjoying the game. And also, the map isn't named, so you can't figure out which area is which, or what part is what town, or this town, or that village. So there's a lot of guesswork and memorization involved when going about in the game, and it's kind of bothersome that I then have to go to a game guide and figure out what I'm supposed to do next. But besides that, it's still a pretty fun game. If I had to score it, I'd say an 8 or 8.5 out of 10.
As of right now, since you're not finished.
Yeah. And of course, I'm not reviewing it, but
yeah.
yeah. So the gameplay design is cumbersome, but not to a point that I'd like ding it any points, any real points. Then
I played like a little of Okami back in the day, and I didn't like it because of the way the sounds the characters made, which is hilarious because they kind of just talk like Animal Crossing characters.
Yeah, or kind of like what Zelda used to do.
And then what's funny is I did play quite a bit of the often forgotten sequel on Nintendo DS, Okami. Then, and that was fun. I never finished it, but it was fun from what I remember. Well, I was gonna ask you something, but I totally blanked out on it.
It's sure.
Okami. No, I think that was all.
Okay.
All right. So our next section, which I did not say the name of last time, is our In From Japan J list, where we talk about recent video game, movie, and TV stuff and our impressions of them. And this week, because it was Pokemon Day, because we're recording a little later than usual, we have Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. So, you watched the sub and I watched the dub?
No, I watched the dub too, because I grew up with the dubbed version of Pokemon, so it was more or less a nostalgia trip. But how did you end up liking it?
I got really bored. I was like, I'd rather just watch the original movie. I was like looking at the changes and I was like, that's interesting. The Pokemon environments look good. The humans look a little off. I have like a whole thing of notes.
Okay.
Let me see.
For me, it was also kind of boring. I mean, it's great to see something you've experienced as a child with fresh eyes as an adult, but it's kind of I don't know how to properly explain it. Like, we've already been here, we've seen everything already, and besides the CG visuals, which were done pretty well, I might add, there wasn't really much new added. There's not like a whole new beat to the story. It's almost a shot-for-shot remake, and then you're left with the point at, okay, what was this for? Who was this for? If it was a nostalgia trip for us older fans, great, but it just kind of felt like a waste of time to me.
Yeah. And they took out Mewtwo's origin story again. Like his the one where he's a baby.
Okay, I never saw that one.
It's on the DVD of Mewtwo Returns, which is my favorite Pokemon movie. Well, it's not technically a movie. Here it was straight to DVD, so it's a movie for us, but it's technically an OVA.
Yeah, but
I do recommend that one. That one's really good.
I wouldn't fault them too much for that, because they did say it was going to be a remake of the original one, so.
Yeah, but the origin story was from the original. So like, I just wonder if they took it out again. Like, maybe it was in the Japanese version originally or something? Or in Japan they actually decided to take it out for whatever reason.
Oh yeah, I'm reading that now. It was originally a part of the first movie, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it could have been great. But I'm guessing they wanted parody with the original movie for some reason.
Yeah, so Dan Green was great as Mewtwo. He sounded a little, like, slightly off compared to how he sounded in Mewtwo Returns, but, you know, it has been a while since he's done that voice, probably.
Yeah, it's been literally 20 years.
Giovanni, well, not 20 years, because he was only in Dan Green was only Mewtwo in Mewtwo Returns, not in the first movie.
Okay. Well,
Um,
19 years because the release was 2001.
the Japanese release, because
No, they
I'm pretty sure we got a little later, didn't we?
yeah, 2002 for the US and Canada.
Okay, that's still okay. That's still a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I looked it up, and the new Giovanni, or not the new Giovanni. Giovanni's supposed to be still voiced by Ted Lewis.
But he didn't sound like it.
He sounded really off. And I know this because the Giovanni voice and the Yami Bakura voice from Yu-Gi-Oh are pretty much the same voice.
Well, you have to account for like the difference in years.
Yeah.
Maybe new
And I was
recording equipment and that kind of stuff.
I also had to think about like Dark Side of Dimensions, the Yu-Gi-Oh movie from like 2017. I had to think about like, wait, did he do Yami Bakura in that movie? No, he did regular Bakura, and he sounded fine, but that's a different voice. So like I had to like think about it. And then Mewtwo's new armor design in motion, it looks a lot better than when he's just standing, I think. Although I like the original armor better still.
I still can't get to the point of caring enough about the movie.
Most people don't care, but I always thought the armor was cool. I even used to have a little keychain that I got for like $1 that was like little armored Mewtwo.
Okay.
What else did I put? The remix theme song is not as good as the original remix theme song.
Yeah, they also cut a few of the songs from the original movie. Did you notice that?
Yeah, because licensing issues, I'm guessing.
Probably.
I like that the narrator has stayed consistent for so long. Roger Parsons. Even when there was a big voice actor change, they kept him. Brock and Misty sound off.
Yeah, like I said, it's like it's a different.
Well, this is the case where it's actually different voice actors.
Yeah, but also like there's difference in 20 years, man. It's like there's gonna be some things that.
What's funny is that with Sarah Natochenny as Ash, she's been Ash for so long now that I'm just kind of used to Ash not being Veronica Taylor. So I'm just kind of like, you know what? I'm okay with this now. 15 years later.
Well, I think the American VOs, especially for those voiced by Japanese women, have an unenviable task because the performance the Japanese women give to these teenage boys is pretty good work, and it doesn't always translate well when you do it in English, but they do a really good job for the most part, like with Ash's new VO or current VO, and I'm always a big supporter of Miley Flanagan, who does Naruto.
Oh, right.
It might not be what you're used to hearing, but they're doing a stellar job in recreating.
For Naruto, I feel like it's more the script than her voice acting. Her voice acting is fine. She sounds like an English version of Naruto to me. It's just I think it's the script more. The dub script is a bit
believe
more.
me, back then people complained a lot about the voice. But
yeah, no, I remember.
They complain about any dubbed voice.
But I was okay with it, and yeah. So back to Pokemon, not Naruto. So the trainer Raymond gets a bit of an updated design, and his team has changed slightly because in the original, I forgot who else he sent out at the same time, but he had a Golem, and it didn't make sense that Pikachu could knock out a Golem with an electric attack. So they changed the lineup from, I don't know what the other two are, but they changed them to have a Drowsy. I think it was Golem, Pinsir, and Venomoth. He has Drowsy.
I'm not too bummed by that because
that was a good change.
in the anime, it's so different from the games because the weaknesses don't exactly match up.
I think they've been trying to stay more consistent recently.
Yeah, probably.
But back in the day, yeah, it was all over the place.
Yeah.
No less dialogue between less Ash says less during the battle. Which isn't like a huge change, but it loses. I feel like it just loses some of the emotion by taking that out.
Yeah. I mean, it just felt like it didn't need it to be made. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
What other changes? Oh yeah, Raymond said he just cries, but in the original he was like, "Oh no," which I thought was a lot funnier. The Team Rocket's whole thing with them on a boat is changed, so instead of Vikings in a rowboat, they're sailors in like a pedal boat. And a pedal boat Labrys, that change is fine. Especially because the dub is a whole thing about a joke about the Minnesota Vikings or whatever, which doesn't even make sense. And then Brock flirts with that one girl trainer and says something about jelly donuts, his famous jelly donuts. I'm like, okay, that's pretty funny. The lines before Ash comes back and makes his like really cool entrance, where it's slightly altered and don't sound as cool. Also, that scene is just not as cool as the original, because the way they did it, where they had more Pokemon come out first and they changed which Pokemon were behind them, and just the way it looked was just not as cool as the original. And that's one of my favorite scenes. I have it in my, I don't know if you saw it that one time I was streaming, but like I have it in my little Twitch stream pre-show. That specific scene.
I mean,
I think that's all
I think those changes were probably made to have some added effect in the remake, but it could have been.
It did the opposite.
It could have been more, or it could have been, I don't know, something entirely different.
For some reason, like some scenes just lacked the intensity of the original. I
just wish they used the budget to make a whole reimagining of the first story, or the first movie story.
Yeah, and then Nurse Joy's line near the end about being like, "Oh, Pokemon aren't supposed to fight like this," which not looking at it in a more Pokemon-like context makes no sense, because Pokemon are fighting all the time. I always took it as like, oh, Pokemon shouldn't be like fighting against clones of themselves, because that's just like weird and wrong and messed up. But in this, she changed it to, and maybe it's closer to the original Japanese, something about territory.
Maybe that's the reason why some lines don't match the original. Maybe it was a new translation from the original Japanese.
And I'm like, okay, that makes a little more sense, but I still liked the other one better.
I mean, you're gonna like what you're gonna like, but
yeah, it's a lot of people don't like the old lines, and I understand why. But it just depends on how it's interpreted, really. So, there was one more thing, but I completely forgot. Oh yeah, no, the most famous line, "The circumstances of one birth," or whatever. That line's kept, because of course they were gonna keep that. That's like one of my favorite lines in any movie ever, and I don't even like the first movie that much, but that line is great. Anyways, final thoughts is, yeah, it was really unnecessary. We'll see how this next one is. We'll talk about that in a little bit. They might be remaking Pokemon 2000. There were rumors that there might be, but we'll see.
I mean, it's possible. Like they're probably looking at the US release and seeing how much it does, or how well it does, or the worldwide release for that matter. and then they'll just see if it's worthwhile to remake the other ones in this style.
I don't think it is. Like Pokemon 2000, a lot of people love Pokemon 2000 more than the first movie, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why.
Because it actually feels like a story, complete story. The first movie, it's like a glorified side battle that kind of devolves into its own main quest, but it's never as good as a real main quest.
Not just that, but at the end, that Mewtwo just wipes their memories like it never happened. So it's just like, well, what was the point?
Yeah, because that means there are no real stakes, or the stakes.
That's why I like Mewtwo Returns though, because it what is it called? Retcons that. Well, not retcons it. It doesn't retcon it, but it makes it so it's like, okay, this one is actually canon, so that movie is now canon. And I'm like, oh, okay.
It kind of restores the original story.
Yeah. And then what's funny is Pokemon 2000 is like partially canon. At least maybe in the dub, because I remember reading about how when they find a baby Lugia in the like Whirl Islands, they're like, oh, it's like the one we saw in the Orange Islands, and I was like, oh, okay, so I guess that movie's canon. Oh, it's so weird. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. So next up, we have our recommended reading, watching, and listening list, where I take a bunch of I should say we, but I've been doing a lot of it. Just putting a bunch of stuff. You didn't put anything on this week, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Feel free to. Anyway. So, our recommended reading and watching and listening list. We got Snack World, the Dungeon Crawl Gold seeks to sate your grinding appetite. Sate?
Yeah.
Saute? I don't know. Sate your grinding appetite by Graham Russell over at Silicon Era. A look at how much Fire Emblem developer Intelligent Systems has grown lately by Ishan Sadev over at Silicon Era. Nintendo 3DS Imports Guide, What You Should Know by Graham Russell over at Michibiku. Michibiku is a site, I believe, created by Graham Russell and Jenny Latta, and is all about imports, and I think there's some stuff about fan translations, and this popped up recently because it is the 5th? No, not the 5th. The 9th anniversary of the 3DS. And it just popped up on my Twitter feed, and I thought, like, oh, that's really interesting. So it's a whole guide about importing 3DS games and consoles, because 3DS has region lock. Stuff like that. Mega Man Zero ZX Legacy Collection properly preserves the legacy of the Maverick Wars by Jenny Latta over at Silicon Era. How Sony and Kojima Productions played telephone across the globe to create Death Stranding soundscape by Katie McCarthy at US Gamer. Dragon Ball Xenoverse gave us the fanfiction we always wanted. I think that's the one where it's like its 5th anniversary? Yeah, it's 5th anniversary for the original Xenoverse. By Heather Alexandra over at Kotaku. Yeah. Spellbreak makes Battle Royale anime as hell, which is a great title, and I'm so excited to play this game now. By Mike Williams over at US Gamer. Resident Evil 3 director and producer, it should say on, but on how the remake and Resident Evil Resistance became one package by Alistair Wong over at Silicon Era via 4Gamer and Famitsu. How a Metroid fan turned a threatening legal letter into a job making games by Patrick Klepek over at Vice. The most interesting Mega Man character is a Reploid who fell in love with a human by Nadia Oxford over at US Gamer. Legendsoflocalization.com is a new source I found that has a lot more stuff on like just localizations and comparing them, and I should probably message the person one of the people here to look at the Snack World stuff. Because they have a whole comparison thing about East 8 and the two translations. So that was I just thought that was interesting to read and see which things I like better and which things were like good changes. So you can check that website out. We have How Stats Work, Competitive Pokemon Explained, Part 1 and 2 over on the GameSpot YouTube channel by our friends Callie Plaguey and Jacob Decker. Over at GameSpot, obviously. Fire Emblem series creators Berwick Saga English fan translation is complete by Alistair Wong over at Silicon Era. That's kind of why I like Silicon Era, is that they have news on fans translation.
Yeah, but this one's notable because the series creator of Fire Emblem, I think after the second game or third game in the main series, left Nintendo and started his own company.
And he also had a Vestaria Saga came out on a PC at the end of last year.
Yeah,
and that's by him.
Yeah, and it's more or less like they had a falling out, and
yeah,
it's all because he wanted to redo his original game, but for someone else or for his own company, but Nintendo wouldn't let him. So it's an interesting story.
Yeah. And then we have our last story on here. It's this is interview Capcom's Matt Walker on Devil May Cry 3 working at Capcom and Card Fighters DS by Lucas White over at Silicon Era. And that's our recommended reading, watching, and listening list for this week. So next is our news rundown. We have a thing for it. I'll play it.
You should get a better jingle.
I put the one I sent you from the 70s. I put it in the last one.
Yeah, so. I know.
So all right. So getting the bad news out of the way first. GDC 2020 has unfortunately been postponed due to coronavirus concerns. Now, I have been planning on going to GDC because I've gone 2 years in a row. The other events I plan on going to surrounding it have not been canceled yet, so I may still take a trip up there. It just depends on what happens, and whether they're canceled before I can get a refund. Whether they're canceled before? Hopefully, if they're canceled, it's before the refund date expires for my stuff. As press, refund for hotel travel stuff, because as press you don't have to pay to go to GDC. Anywho, the statement from the GDC organizers: after close consultation with our partners in the game development industry and community around the world, we've made the difficult decision to postpone the Game Developers Conference this March. And they're giving refunds. The talks will be released digitally for the speakers who still want to participate. It'll be on the GDC YouTube channel for release for free, which that's really nice because there was a lot of stuff I was looking forward to, a lot of talks that were canceled.
But
the Animal Crossing one.
That's the thing with GDC videos; they do get released for free, but I think after a year or two.
It's usually after a year. The IGF Awards, which I usually cover, the Independent Games Festival, and the Game Developers Choice Awards will also be streamed digitally during the week the event would have taken place on Twitch. And they're replanning for sometime in late summer. So hopefully, I really hope that this coronavirus stuff gets figured out, because this thing could cancel like E3 potentially, and yeah, I know you could say, well, E3 was dying anyway, but like it could cancel E3, it could cancel Anime Expo, which
let's not kick.
Anime Expo is big for game news.
Yeah, and I don't know if you listen to Kotaku Split Screen, but Jason Schreier had an interesting point to make that the coronavirus could impact a whole lot more than we realize, because there are smaller studios that work on art assets or level assets for games, and they're usually located in Asia and Europe, because labor is a lot more cheaper that way. But if the coronavirus keeps on being such an important factor, and the studios are out of the running for helping out on the game, then even games can be delayed longer. Even if they're just digital only, they can still be delayed longer because it'll just take a lot more time to develop.
So for games coming out rather soon, I'm wondering if they'll do the thing that if they'll move to just doing the things that indie things do temporarily, well, hopefully temporarily, where the digital version is released first and then the physical version is released sometime later.
Probably, but it also, I think it depends on their marketing strategy. Like, if it takes too much from their release plans, and if their sales are so dependent on physical sales, then they might not. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm wondering. That's what I wonder with Animal Crossing, because I don't. Animal Crossing does not seem like a game that most people would get. Well, some people get it physically, but I feel like more people would be getting it digitally just because of how it's a daily thing, and you don't have to switch the cartridge and all that, and then you don't have the risk of losing your cartridge.
That is true.
So I guess we'll see what happens with that. I wanted to get the bad news out of the way first. I've been pretty upset by it the other day, but I'm kind of just, you know, it might also just be from some social media. I've been taking a break from that this week. Well, we're recording this on the weekend right now, but yeah, I've been taking a break from that this weekend. Besides, you know, my news thing, my news feed. Anyways, back to good. Well, I don't know if it's good news. Good news for some people. It's interesting news. Not bad. It's not bad news. That's what it is. So the first one, which I thought was pretty interesting because I didn't really see anybody else covering this, is that Pokemon Home makes good bank in its first week of life. This is from US Gamer by. It's not loading. I don't know who this is by.
Let me check for you. US Gamer by. It's also not loading for me. That's interesting.
Okay, it is Nadia Oxford.
Okay.
Okay, so it was the site, not the. Okay. Why did I just close it? Has enjoyed a strong start. It was installed on 1.3 million devices during its first week, and the Pokemon companies racked up about 1.8 million via the app's subscription plans. That's pretty crazy, because a lot of people did not like the fact that everybody was complaining about the fact that you have to pay for it on all that, but then see, that's so funny with how that happens with Pokemon. People complain so much, and then it makes a ton of money anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I don't think it doesn't matter, but it...
No, not that it doesn't matter, but like it turns out not being as big of a deal as people make it out to be.
Well, I think it's still a big deal, but people don't have any other alternative, so they just end up caving in. It's
like, especially because right now the Pokemon you can transfer, it's still pretty limited.
Yeah. I mean, the only other way would be to do a complicated dance between Game Boy to Game Boy Color to Game Boy Advance to Game Boy, not Game Boy Advance, but then from Game Boy Advance to Nintendo DS and then 3DS, and then look for some way to transfer them to Switch. But that's just so convoluted, and Pokemon Home has such more ease of use that you'll probably just end up asking yourself, why find it?
Well, I haven't paid for it yet because of how limited it is, but I did transfer my Meltaran from Let's Go into Sword, so I was like, okay. That was the most important thing to get anyways. Especially because I don't have Let's Go anymore. So my team, I can't... The Pokemon who were actually on my team, I can't transfer because I can't move them to the box. So that's annoying.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was just an interesting little thing. Next story is we got a new mythical Pokemon named Zarude.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I'm trying to... I mean, in Japanese it's Zarudo, so... Zawado!
Yeah, I was just thinking the exact same thing.
A lot of people make that joke. But it is a new mythical Pokemon. It is Dark and Grass type. It is a monkey. It will be the star of the new movie Pokemon Coco, which had a new Japanese trailer recently that was short, but it just kind of highlighted it. Also, we have this US Gamer article about it that says a Pokemon Sword and Shield's new mythical Pokemon will eviscerate you if a Caterpie doesn't kill it first. Because it has a 4 times weakness against Bug. I like the design, but I don't think it should be a mythical.
How come?
It just looks too much like a
normal?
There's nothing mythical about it, I feel like.
Well, I mean, that could also be said of a few others, like...
That's true, but I mean, like this, I feel like more so. It's a monkey, and it's not... And the fact that they put it in the trailer, they put it up against, like, they put it up against Rillaboom. Well, I know why they put it up against Rillaboom, because that's the other one. But like Rillaboom and Dreadnought for some reason makes me think that like the marketing team didn't think it was that special either. We'll see how it is. I don't know. It'll be weird. I don't like the typing. Dark is my second favorite type, and I'm not really a fan of that type.
Okay.
Otherwise, it wasn't like a regular Pokemon, I'd like it fine. But the fact that it's a mythical makes it like feel weird to me.
No, I get you.
But of course, there are probably 1 or 2 more mythicals to be introduced over time.
You mean in conjunction with the DLC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's what usually happens. Like, for X and Y, we had, Volcanion, Diancie, and Hoopa. And then for Sun and Moon, we had, Magiarna and Zeraora. And I think there was another one, but I forgot what it was. Anyways, moving on. Next Pokemon story.
Yeah.
Google's Pokemon of the Year vote winner is announced, and it's pretty surprising. This is from Nintendo Life by Ryan Craddock. We don't usually use Nintendo Life. That was just the one that came up first. Hang on.
You good?
Okay. They spelled water went down the wrong hole. So we got a top 10 Pokemon of the year, and from 10 to 1, it is Gengar, Gardevoir, Rayquaza, I know it's pronounced both ways, whatever, Garchomp, Sylveon, Umbreon, they put Umbreon wrong, they put Umbreon, Charizard, Mimikyu, Lucario, and number 1 is Greninja.
Huh. Do you think it's due to Smash?
I think it's partly due to Smash, partly due to the fact that people are still salty that he lost the Kalos League, and partly because he's a frog ninja.
Huh. Okay.
I don't know. I'm surprised that Lucario is still that popular, but then again, that kind of supports the Smash theory. And then Mimikyu is in 3rd place, which is... Mimikyu is very popular. More popular than Charizard, I guess.
I mean, Charizard
but of course,
hasn't been... I mean, he's an evergreen favorite, but I don't think he's been showcased that much in the games
Yeah.
merchandising compared to Mimikyu, who has become a fan favorite in the years since being revealed, I guess.
It's funny that Mimikyu. What if Mimikyu is only there because like people didn't want to vote for Pikachu, and since Mimikyu
Oh,
dresses up
kind
like
of like
Pikachu,
a point.
yeah. But people like Mimikyu,
Yeah.
so because Pikachu isn't even on here, so
That is
yeah.
so surprising.
And then Gengar, that makes sense. Gardevoir, I don't want to say anything about that, but I can understand why. Rayquaza, I'm a little surprised by that.
Mhm.
Garchomp, I'm not surprised because it's been popular in tournaments a lot. Sylveon and Umbreon, I'm like, okay. Well, Umbreon a lot of people love.
Sylveon's cute.
Yeah, I guess some people like Sylveon. Yeah. Next story is... So we got, for Pokemon Day, we got a new, some new raids, and the Mewtwo raid is apparently very hard,
Mhm.
and you can't catch Mewtwo.
So what's he?
This is from Patricia Hernandez over at Polygon. Pokemon Sword and Shield Mewtwo raid may be the hardest battle in the entire series. It's a level 100 EV trained creature who happens to know 6 moves instead of the standard 4.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want that one?
Players say that Mewtwo also has way more health and shields than those you can find in standard raid battles. And as a bonus, the Mewtwo comes packed with move counters that can take down its biggest foes.
Mm.
You don't get the catches, but you get some rare prizes. And like, raids are already hard when you can't, if you can't team up with other people. And even when you team up with other people, sometimes they can be difficult.
Yeah.
So for Pokemon Day, which these still go on until March 1st. Man, I need to get on this, but all the people I play with are busy. So the other Pokemon that will be available through dens: Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle. I believe you can get Bulbasaur or Squirtle from Pokemon Home temporarily as well. Krabby, Impidimp, Toxel, Kingler, Toxtricity, Morgrem, Ivysaur, Charmeleon, Wartortle, Grimmsnarl, and then in Pokemon Shield you can also get Dottler, Hatena, Orbeetle, Hatterene, and I think that's it. Yeah, so there are like increased chances to get certain Gigantamax and Dynamax Pokemon. Alright, so moving on from Pokemon, next to real news. So, this comes from Sauramano over at Gamatsu. Bubble Bobble 4 Friends launches March 31st in North America. Wait, why did I put... I actually wrote a news story on this for Game Skinny. I don't know why I didn't put my thing in. Anyways, it came out in Europe last year. It's out this week in Japan. It's coming out March 31st, both physically and digitally in North America. Published by In Games? In Games? Which is interesting because Taito, the company behind Bubble Bobble, is owned by Square Enix. So that's
You're wondering
weird.
why Square isn't publishing this?
I mean, I'm wondering if Square licensed it out or like just doesn't care. Like, oh, Bubble Bobble, yeah, go ahead.
Well, maybe it just doesn't fit in their North American publishing plans.
So, and we don't know if that special edition we talked about a few podcasts ago, there's no confirmation of whether America will get it. But I'm gonna get the physical version, if possible. I don't know if coronavirus will impact it.
Let's hope not.
Otherwise, I'll just get it digitally, and it won't be that big of a deal. It also comes with, so it has single-player mode, up to 4 players in cooperative play, 100 stages and 5 bosses, learn and upgrade special skills via the skill system, and it has the original Bubble Bobble game on it, with 2-player co-op mode. So, when I asked, where's Bubble Bobble on Switch, there it is. So that was just a quick story that's important to me. This one's probably more important to both. Well, are you a... so, I'll ask you after I say what it is. So, this is again by Sal Romano over at Gamatsu. Samurai Jack Battle Through Time announced for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. So, are you a Samurai Jack fan?
No, but I am an appreciator of the art style. It never really aired in sequence here, so we had very random episodes every now and then, so I never really could follow the show, and we didn't have Cartoon Network.
Well, what's interesting is it's not, at least before season 5, it's not everything. There's stuff that's more episodic. So I could see why it would air that way. But yeah, it's a very good show. I would recommend you watch.
Yeah, I know it's highly recommended, and a lot of people love it. So if possible, I'd watch it too. But yeah, it seems like it's getting the game it deserves.
Yeah, and I know our listeners might be like, "Oh, but Samurai Jack isn't Japanese. It's just inspired by Japanese stuff." Well, that's the thing. It is being developed by Team Soleil, which is a Japanese studio who developed Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker, and it consists of a number of former Team Ninja employees who have worked on Dead or Alive and Ninja Gaiden franchises.
So it kind of is a Japanese-made game, so it fits into our coverage.
Yeah. There's going to be a panel during PAX, which is happening right now. Oh no, I guess there was a panel yesterday? But I haven't seen more news on it. Anyways, there's an announcement trailer. It's a 3D action game. I know a lot of people are disappointed by the art. Like, it looks like Samurai Jack in a 3D environment. So it's still stylized, but not quite the way a lot of people might want. But I think it looks, like, gameplay-wise, it looks like it could be fun. So, we'll see what happens with that. Now, when are they going to bring back Symbiotic Titan and make a game off that? Because I just finished that recently, and the nice thing is it ends on like a good note, but there is like a cliffhanger aspect to it. So it's just like, that's unfortunate. And then one of the reasons it was canceled is because there wasn't a toy line to go with it, which I was thinking, wait, why wasn't there? There are so many monsters, and there are several robots, and that's really weird, actually. So, but it is, and Cartoon Network had it as a tax write-off, but now it's on Netflix, at least in the U.S. So if you can't find Samurai Jack, or Samurai Jack's not your thing, or it's because it's just easier to find, watch Symbiotic Titan. It's also shorter. It's like 20 episodes.
I wonder if I can get it on my Netflix.
You'd have to check that. I would think you would. You could get Dragon Quest and
Well, you'd be surprised. I just checked. It is not on our Netflix.
I mean, Symbiotic Titan it's just weird that it's on Netflix at all.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully we can get like a Blu-ray release. Anyways, next story is... Do you want to take this one? My voice is kind of getting...
The Dengeki PlayStation 1? Okay.
Yeah.
According to Gamatsu, as written by Sal Romano, Dengeki PlayStation will cease regular publication with the March 28th issue. Which is notable because Dengeki PlayStation is a very well-known publisher of a PlayStation magazine. They're a Japan-only magazine, so no English release. So if you're wondering, like, oh no, I missed any of the bigger issues, or I'll get the final issue, you could, but it'll still be in Japanese. They first launched in 1994, and they have a history of 25 years spanning various factors.
Just a side note on collecting magazines. I was looking up the level 5 Famitsu issue, and I was like, oh yeah, like I found like a Japanese site that was like, it was only like $4. I was like, oh, $4, okay, and it was like sold out, and then all the other copies were like hundreds of dollars, and I'm like,
yeah, because
that's
collectors
crazy.
like these kind of physical things.
Yeah, so I feel like if you're a collector, if you like physical, like video game related stuff, like maybe you want the last issue of Dengeki PlayStation, look for it ahead of time or like right after publication.
Yeah,
don't wait, because the price is just gonna go up.
Yeah, they're gonna skyrocket. Yeah, as I was saying, it first launched in 1994. Dengeki PlayStation has a history spanning 25 years, but various factors, including changes in the state of affairs surrounding media such as magazines, as well as changes in the delivery of game information, have led to the decision to cease publication, which most likely means since everything is online, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok, or whatnot, it makes sense to pivot to those digital platforms.
I don't think Dengeki PlayStation is on TikTok.
Not yet, not yet. But I mean, in this digital age, it just makes more sense to be as affordable as possible. And magazine printing is pretty pricey, so yeah. The Dengeki Online version is still going to be up and running, and they might bring out special anniversary or special magazines every now and then, but those are uncertain plans. But yeah,
I know a lot of people left, but I still am gonna be sad the day Game Informer is completely done. Well, at least with physical stuff.
Oh, please don't let that happen.
Because I still get them, so...
I don't. I could get them digitally, but I read everything online, and I'm not too bothered by the fact that I don't get the exclusive items, because they do end up online eventually. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it's sad to see a magazine go, but with the way the world is with digital stuff now, it's not really that surprising.
Yeah.
There's still other magazines that have stuff, like Japan has a lot of magazines still.
Yeah.
Famitsu, that's not going anywhere for a while, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
Alright, next story. I'm very excited to talk about this. Project, or Platinum Game. I'm like so excited that I read the title wrong. Platinum Games announces Project GG, directed by Hideki Kamiya. This is by Mercedes Cluis over at Silicon Era. Early information from Famitsu has revealed Platinum Games' Project GG, a new game that will be directed by Bayonetta and Wonderful 101 director Hideki Kamiya and Okami director? Was he the director for Okami? I forgot.
Yeah, he was.
Okay. So a new trailer that's being self-published. Tencent offered to publish the title, but they said, "Oh no, we want full control and ownership of this one." And so
they did financial injection from Tencent, so in a way, Tencent is still involved.
Okay, but not nearly as much. So In an interview with Famitsu, Kamiya said that this is Platinum challenging what the company hasn't challenged before. He added that if Beautiful Joe is like Kamen Rider transformation, and if Wonderful 101 is like Squadron or Sentai, Project GG is like a huge hero, such as Ultraman, which I guess is part of this hero trilogy that like Kamiya says is a thing. So it's Beautiful Joe, Wonderful 101, and Project GG. Is Project GG like just a working title?
Yeah, it's probably a working title.
I wonder if one of the G is just going to stand for Giant. Because that would make sense.
I wouldn't dare to speculate.
It's just called Giant Guy.
Giant Guy.
It would work. And then in an interview with Famitsu, executive director and producer at Sushi Inaba noted that he wants to open up a 100-person studio in Tokyo. He said there are already about 15 people working on Project GG, and I would like for the new Tokyo studio to work on the game. And then Inaba noted that he wants to launch Project GG on all available platforms. And so we actually have an update on that. And there's a teaser trailer for Project GG also, where it shows people running from a giant kaiju, and then there's a Shiba Inu who almost gets stepped on, and then a boy comes in and protects him, and he presses a thing on his wrist, and he turns into an Ultraman-like guy, and then he fights the kaiju, and then the trailer ends.
You thought of Ultraman. I thought of a quadruple S Gridman.
A what?
Gridman.
Oh, Gridman.
Yeah.
Well, they're both owned by Subaraya.
Isn't that Bandai?
No, they're both Gridman and Ultraman are both owned by Subaraya. And that's why the Gridman anime, which is one of my favorites, it has so many Ultraman references.
Callbacks? Yeah.
And then, we got the American adaptation of the original Gridman, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, where there's a bunch of random actors, and then Tim Curry voices the villain.
Wow.
Yeah, he was in a lot of random things in the 90s.
Yeah, including Command & Conquer.
Anyways, we have this update. This is an IGN article by Matt Kim. Matt Kim. Oh, right. I always forget because I always think of Matt Kim
from IG.
Wasn't he at US Gamer before?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So I'm always like, wait, are these two people with the same name or the same guy? But anyways, Platinum is hoping to release a new game as soon as we can. First wholly owned Platinum Games project, Hero Trilogy. While Beautiful Joe and Wonderful 101 are pure action games, this will not be like that. It'll include action elements, but it won't be simply an action game. It'll include much more than that. So that's interesting. I'm wondering how that'll play out.
That's a really interesting way of describing the game.
And he's saying stuff like, how it's inspired by Giant Heroes and Ultraman. Setting will probably not be Japan, as that might be restrictive, but he hasn't decided yet. Aiming to launch on every current console. PS4, Xbox One, Switch, Steam, and PS5 and Series X.
I think he's looking to make a game that's a lot more emotional than Beautiful Joe and Wonderful 101, because those are more like Saturday morning, colorful and bright. And I think he's trying to make something that where you can cheer on for someone, or you feel when they lose, kind of like that.
Dude, if Platinum is the one to popularize Ultraman type stuff in America, so be it. That's like the best of everything. And so he said, put it this way, we're not looking for something as long as 3 years, nor will it be as soon as half a year or a year. I'm like, so about 2 years? Why did you just say around 2 years? Well, I guess that you put yourself in a corner if you say that. We want to deliver it as soon as we can. Prefer to make a quality game over a timely one. Hey, I don't have any desire to release games quickly. My only desire is to release games that are good.
Well. Well.
But what's funny, so this is a really funny coincidence because in addition to game news, I also pay attention to tokusatsu news. And earlier this week, the official Ultraman English Twitter account and website launched. Because Tsuburaya has been working on their like Ultraman Global initiative to like distribute Ultraman stuff globally easier, which is great. So Tsuburaya Productions officially launched their global Ultraman. Oh, this comes from Ryan Firestein. That's a really cool name. Over at Tokusatsu Network. So Tsuburaya Productions has officially launched their global Ultraman Twitter account. Twitter account is at Tsuburaya Global for distributing the latest news from the Ultraman franchise through the global market. New Ultraman website also launched, the Ultraman Galaxy website. Starlight Runner Entertainment, working with Tsuburaya Productions to help with the global marketing. The website contains news, videos, and various information from licensing for the franchise to new projects launching. Character profiles for various Ultra Heroes and Kaiju are here, as well as sections explaining key terminology and the history of the series. They have been releasing some like Blu-rays lately of original Ultraman, Ultra Q, which is kind of like it's a proto Ultraman show, which is it's like Twilight Zone but with Kaiju, basically. And I've been meaning to watch it. And then there are select Ultraman series available on, I believe, Crunchyroll and Verve, and I believe also the Toku HD Amazon Prime like extension channel. And then just recently, I think this was either today or yesterday, is Ultraman Kaiju Combat video game planned for fall 2020.
So it's all
Elevated Games is developing a new video game featuring classic Ultraman heroes and Kaiju with a planned release of fall 2020. So following the announcement of global expansion, blah blah blah, it says first Ultraman video game created by non-Japanese developer, and it will feature chess-inspired combat between Ultras and Kaiju on a chessboard. You know, what's interesting is I did play a Japanese Ultraman like Mon game thing that sounds kind of similar, so I wonder if they're using that as like a base. But you didn't play as any Ultra heroes, I don't think. You would collect the Kaiju, and it was very hard to play because it was in Japanese. But actually, it wasn't that hard. It was just I didn't know all the details of everything. Expected to release fall of 2020 with the alpha soft launch set for September. Players can already sign up for pre-launch. I believe it's a mobile game. I don't know. It doesn't say. Oh, it says the game's concept evolved from a fighting game about the founder of Bitcoin facing off against a banker into one where the human player becomes a mech through inserting chips into their arm. Hines explained that after noticing similarities between the latter concept and Netflix anime series Ultraman, which is great, by the way, Elevated Games reached out to Tsuburaya not expecting to get a response. So, just real quick, I talk about Ultraman a lot because my exposure to Ultraman was through the 4Kids dub of Ultraman Tiga, which is a lot of episodes are like found throughout YouTube, and that's the only way you could find those episodes. And they're hilarious. The Ultraman anime on Netflix is really cool, and it's a sequel to the original Ultraman, but it's not it's more of a superhero type thing than a giant hero thing. But I still recommend it. Anyways, yeah, so that just in conjunction with Project GG is just a great coincidence.
And no one is happier than Erroll at the moment.
I'm waiting for Toei to, make more Kamen Rider series easily available internationally.
So, which according to you is a lot better or a lot more enjoyable, Kamen Rider or Ultraman?
It just depends on what you're looking for. If you like Godzilla type stuff, I'd say like and giant monsters, that's Ultraman. If you like Power Rangers and like you like how they fight when they're not in the Megazords, that's a Kamen Rider. You want to check out Kamen Rider.
Okay.
They're both good in their own ways. I still need to watch more of both.
Okay.
And then also, this is you. But it's related.
Yeah, it's very much related.
Kind of.
The Wonderful 101 Remastered launches in May, the 19th in North America, May 22nd in Europe, and June 11 in Japan, as reported by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. And it will be around $39.99. We'll round it off to $40, which is interesting because right now on Kickstarter, which is still up for 6 days more, the game can be bought digitally for $37. So a little cheaper on the Kickstarter if you pledge. So if anyone's listening, that's my hot tip. You have, as of recording, 6 more days to go, and by when does this go up? Monday? Then you'll have 4 days left to get it a bit cheaper. But yeah, it's on its way. It's funded. Well, it was funded a long time ago, but it's on its way now, and it's a good thing to see this underrated gem or underplayed gem finally getting its due in the new era.
You know what's funny is I didn't realize I haven't seen Wonderful 101 gameplay for a long time, so I looked at it and I was like, oh, they're tiny. Or at least like, and they all come like, it's all these things all these heroes combine to make different like weapons. So like, that's funny. Yeah. I was like, this does not seem like a platinum. I could see why people passed this off when it came to Wii U, because it wasn't like a Bayonetta type of thing. But it's probably, I'm sure it's good in its own way. I still plan on getting it. I'm trying not to spoil myself too much on gameplay. I just wanted to see like a quick thing.
Yeah, I think I just might get the Kickstarter digital one. Because you know I'm all about getting games for cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and also isn't getting the digital version easier for you? Just in general?
Pretty much. Because I'm not sure if they'll be able to ship the physical one, and getting the physical one locally would cost a bit more, and importing it would still cost a bit more. So digital is my best bet.
All right. This next story is also you.
Yeah, we're sad to announce, and I'm sure you've seen it pop up on Twitter or gaming sites, that the Konami Code creator Kazuhisa Hashimoto has passed away, as reported by Alistair Wong for Silicon Era. It is the, as you may know, the Konami Code is the up, down, left, right, B, A, start. Secret code.
Do we know how old he was?
Let's see. It doesn't specify here. I'm gonna look him up. Let's see. Kazuhisa.
61.
61. That's not even that old.
Yeah, that's younger than I expected.
Yeah.
Cause of death not specified, unfortunately.
Yep.
And
yeah, it's unfortunate that a large part of gaming history is now gone. All the best wishes and sympathies go out to the family.
But like the cool thing is he was kind of immortalized by that. Too.
Yeah.
Because the Konami Code isn't just specific. It's so famous. Like in this article, it even says like these other things. Like the Google Stadia controller has it etched into the back.
It's like a part of pop culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and the best wishes go out to his family and friends and colleagues. All right. The next one, Butterfinger has Final Fantasy.
Oh, that was. Oh, was that you?
No,
I thought I was.
that's
I thought it was
not
me.
specifically me, but you can take it.
Okay. I think this is hilarious just because of how I grew up in America in the 90s and how this is relevant to my life, kind of. Butterfinger Final Fantasy VII Remake DLC promotion will begin in March 2020. So it's not just Butterfinger, it's Butterfinger, Baby Ruth, and Nestle Crunch Bars. Official website opened, and between March 3rd and May 14th, people will be able to buy certain candy bars to get add-ons. Getting at least 2 bars will also give people a Final Fantasy VII Remake Tifa PlayStation 4 dynamic theme. Oh boy. Only a handful of bars will work. People need to buy 2 bars at one time to qualify for one add-on. You can then email in a copy of your receipt to qualify for an item. You can also text candy to 87654 during the event period. How many candy bars you buy determine which one Final Fantasy VII DLC items you get. Someone who buys 10 candy bars could earn every item by buying 10 applicable candy bars at once. And only a limited number of each add-on will be available. The codes for DLC will be sent out when the game is released. Midgar Bangle, Shinra Bangle. Midgar Bangle, 100,000 will be available, and you need to buy 2 bars to get it. Shinra Bangle, 50,000 will be available, and you need to buy 4 bars. Corneo's Armlet, 50,000 available, need to buy 6 bars. Superstar Belt, 25,000 available, need to buy 8 bars. Mako Crystal, 25,000 available, need to buy 10 bars. So, you know, if you have a real sweet tooth and you love Final Fantasy, this is the promotion for you.
Which is so weird, but if you like candy and if you like Final Fantasy, this is the thing for you.
Yeah. This reminds me of the old Simpsons Butterfingers commercials from my childhood.
Okay. The next one is also Final Fantasy related. Final Fantasy 3 for PC, iOS, and Android is getting an update with gallery mode, auto battle function, and 2x speed by Sal Romano for Gomatsu. So this is pretty notable because Final Fantasy 3 has been out there for such a long time, and for it to get an update now, it's pretty noteworthy.
Yeah, because it came out in 2014, and people are speculating that maybe there will be a console port.
That's also possible. I'm thinking more Switch than anything else. Like maybe a double pack with 4.
Yeah, you know what's funny? That's something I talked about with my friend whose favorite Final Fantasy is 3. I said, like, it's funny how it's funny how the older Dragon Quest besides 10 and 11 are on Switch, and the more newer Final Fantasies are on Switch, but the older Final Fantasies and the newer Dragon Quests.
Well, yeah, that's true. I'm guessing. Well, Square has said publicly that they are planning on, or they'd like to have their games available on every platform for as much as possible. So maybe this is them making good on that promise. Final Fantasy 3, the DS remake, because these graphics are from the DS remake, is, I don't know if it's underplayed. Everything before Final Fantasy 4 is kind of underplayed, and only the hardest of the hardcore play those, because those games are kind of tough, especially
I tried playing Final Fantasy IV a while back because I think that's my friend's like second favorite. Yeah, I gave up because like back in the day, I couldn't get past like the first or second area, and I was like, how am I supposed to? Like it just seemed like every enemy just wrecked me.
Okay. Which version did you play?
It was the DS version, but like maybe since I'm more used to JRPGs now, it would probably be easier to me.
I didn't have that much trouble with it when I played the DS version.
Yeah, so I could go back to it at some. I mean, I don't have it. I was borrowing it from my friend. But like, I plan once I finish my Dragon Quest stuff, whenever that is, maybe I'll go to Final Fantasy at some point.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Final Fantasy, there's a big Final Fantasy sale on Steam right now. Pretty much every Final Fantasy is on for very cheap, except for Final Fantasy 14.
Yes, but depending on the game,
yeah.
The PC port could be good or bad depending on the game.
Yeah, because Final Fantasy VI is very notorious for its graphical look. So if you're not a big fan of smooth out butter-like figures, then maybe avoid that one. But everything else is gold.
What version of Final Fantasy VI would you recommend? The Game Boy one or the DS?
Generally, people recommend the Game Boy Advance one. And I'm thinking there hasn't been very much conclusive information out there on this. The Super Nintendo Online, no, that's wrong. The Super Nintendo Classic one might also be a good version to play, but getting
it's on the Classic?
Yeah, but getting the Super Nintendo Classic is kind of tricky these days, unless you get get a used version of the console. The PSN one has kind of spotty translation, but you can get that digitally.
I'd say the Game Boy Advance one is probably the best.
Probably the best.
Probably doesn't cost that much. Hopefully. I don't know.
Let me check right now. Final Fantasy 6 Advance on eBay. It goes for about $55, $40.
Okay, so that's not.
It's not
terrible. That's the price of a new game.
No,
and also it's a.
Yeah, no, it's around that range.
Because it's a highly, if that's the best version to fans, then it's highly sought after, and it could be a lot more.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's just not that accessible to get a Game Boy Advance game these days, because you have to have.
It depends.
I mean,
if you still have a Game Boy Advance,
yeah,
or if you're looking to get what's it called, the analog thing that's coming out.
Yeah, analog Pocket.
Which I am actually looking to get. That
I'm looking forward to it too.
Pre-orders go.
But yeah, like I said, it's not that easy. If you go into this blind, like you have no Game Boy Advance, no Final Fantasy VI copy.
Yeah,
and it's a bit tricky. Then your options are a bit limited. But yeah,
there are some options, but I'm not gonna recommend them because those aren't technically. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, if you're fine with the graphics for the PC or mobile version, go get that because those are the most accessible as of now.
I wonder if somebody made like a mod for it.
Probably, but I have not heard of any one of those.
Also, Final Fantasy XIV might not be on sale, but you can sign up for a free trial of it.
Yeah, that is true.
I switched to a different email to make a new account, and I made a character, and I played the intro quest last night, and I plan on playing a little more later today.
You gamed the system.
Yeah, I got people to play with, so I'm just like, okay. Alright, so moving on to the main topic, which I mixed some of the news stories about it in here. So our main topic is about our next gen thoughts, predictions, and concerns. So this week, and it may not be a Japanese system, but Microsoft is trying to get more of a Japanese market this time around. So, and it's still important because it's next gen, and Japanese games will come to it regardless of where the thing was developed.
Yeah.
So, the Xbox Series X has 12 teraflops. I don't know what that means. This is by Joe Scrabbles, fake name, over at IGN. And 12 teraflops, 120 FPS, ray tracing, backwards compatibility, and more.
To put it in layman's terms, it's twice as powerful as an Xbox One X, and 4 times as powerful as an Xbox One.
And a lot more powerful than a GameCube. Did you see that image?
Yeah. The GameCube stacked on top of each other.
But yeah, it's gonna have higher frame rates, larger worlds, more stable frame rates, and higher resolution with no impact on the final image quality. Hardware accelerated DirectX ray tracing will be a first for consoles.
Yeah.
Console solid state drive, replacing hard disk drives of previous Xbox consoles, will improve load times. We'll also have a quick resume feature that allows you to re-enter suspended games with almost no wait times. And the thing about that, there's another article on IGN by Chris Priestman that the quick resume can be used even after you've restarted the console. So you can... So really, you can... if you're not at a place in a game where you can save, as long as the game doesn't get messed up, you can, like, pretty much be okay. Or if there's, like, a power outage, or... Well, no, I guess power outage. No, never mind. I don't know what I thought.
No, but it's probably due to the solid state memory. The disk doesn't have to start spinning, and you don't have to access a particular set of data on the disk. But you can access whatever pretty quickly. I think that's why this is possible.
And then, like, Eurogamer has a little more detail too. And then, so we got a lot of Xbox news. We did not get much PS5 information, except for Sony patented a possible PS5 controller that can monitor your heart rate and sweat, which that's weird. Sense the player's biometrics.
I don't know if you watched the Next Gen Watch show by IGN, but they had a segment specifically on this, and it's already technology that exists. But say, for example, you're playing a horror game, and the game can decide to add elements based on your heart rate. So to make it scarier or more difficult.
Or hopefully less scary if it thinks your heart rate is alarming.
Yeah.
Because I don't want more people having heart attacks.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a thing. But yeah.
It's an interesting thing just because we haven't had any other PS5 information.
Yeah, and patents don't have to indicate anything specifically, because a lot of patents fizzle out or are put on the back burner for other...
I mean, Nintendo patents stuff all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything specifically.
But this is like just the most relevant PS5 information we have at the moment.
Yeah.
Right now, as of right now, for next gen, until we have more information on PS5, I'm thinking I'm gonna get I'm gonna get both eventually, but I would get an Xbox first.
Yeah.
Which would be the first time I've had an Xbox since 360.
Well, depending on the price and the digital distribution, because some digital things are tricky to get for me. I might end up switching from one side to the other, because now I have PlayStation 2, so I might also jump into getting an Xbox, or just double down on my Switch for the time.
The biggest thing about like Xbox to me is the fact that it will still have backwards compatibility.
Yeah, that's a great boon for Xbox fans and people who like migrated to other consoles.
And Sony has been dropping the ball on that.
For the PlayStation 4 for sure, but the PlayStation 5 they'll be backwards compatible up till the PlayStation 4 for sure. It's still unclear whether or not they'll have PlayStation 1 through 3 on the PS5.
I mean, they have PS Now for some PS3 games, but that's like a streaming thing, and we still got to see, like, that technology still needs to prove a bit.
Some games can be downloaded to the console, so you don't need to be streaming everything.
Yeah. And then they try to hide the PS2 on PS4 games on the store pretty much now, and they haven't had one in a couple years, and that's unfortunate. Yeah, that's just and we do have a question from our boss man John. If you have a question, you can what is it called? Tag? You can tweet at In From Japan on Twitter, and you can also send the question to the In From Japan email, infromjapan@gmail.com. Anyways, John's question is, what do you think will be the biggest difference with the next-gen consoles in terms of gameplay? Me personally, I hope the load times decrease.
It's definitely going to decrease. I don't know if you read the technical analysis on the demo they have running for Spider-Man on PS5.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it was so dramatic compared to what it's now on PS4. And yeah, I think across the board it's going to benefit every game.
So, do you think they'll have to do less to like hide load times?
Probably, because it's all going to be on the SSD, and then you can access it at a blink of an eye, a fraction of a second, or whatever the technical term would be. Yes, since you can access it so quickly, you wouldn't have to hide it or be creative with how you present your world to the player. You could just have it at the ready, and it could affect gameplay in ways we can't imagine as of now.
Yeah, I think it's this is like I think it was going to be so interesting since I have a gaming computer now, deciding at least for things that aren't well, Xbox doesn't technically have any exclusives. PS5 we don't know a lot about any exclusives except Godfall. But besides exclusives, like for third-party titles, it'll be interesting seeing how to decide which version to get. Especially if the consoles are pretty similar.
Well, I think what's also interesting is that when you combine all these different parts that make up the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, you come up with a price tag that's way out of the budget for most casual gamers or people who...
People are speculating around like $500, right?
Well, it's $1,500 more or less for all the specs that you'd be getting in a gaming PC of this quality. So this being $500, it's pretty much a steal. And if it's even less than that, you can count your lucky stars. You can get all of this hardware for that price.
Yeah, let's just hope it's... well, I would say don't get consoles at launch. Even as good as like this Xbox sounds, I still recommend waiting a month or two before getting a console, unless you really, really like, unless you're just like hardcore.
Listen, man. I don't have a PlayStation 4 anymore, and I'm dying to get back into my backlog. So, as soon as this comes out, I'm getting one.
Okay, fine. For you, sure. in that case, sure. But I'm saying, like, if you have Xbox One, PS4, and like, because like, if you have the previous console at launch of the next console, it's best to wait a little while just so they work a couple of the, the growing consoles usually have a couple of growing pains or whatever. Wait a little while to work the kinks out, and then maybe the price will also go down. You could get a better deal on it.
I don't think the price will drop dramatically.
No, I'm not saying it'll, but you might be able to get like it packaged in with other games.
Yeah, that's
some other thing.
But I think where this is such a different generation is that there's a lot of there's going to be a lot of cross availability. Like for example, Last of Us 2 comes out this year, and it also has a patch that updates the graphics or the frame rate or whatever for PS5. So we kind of already have games that will be playable for the next.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Seeing as all of us have like endless backlogs of games, we'll probably be sitting good for a few months before the next big exclusive drops. And let's say Bloodborne finally gets the patch it was supposed to have for PS4 Pro. People will flock into that game back, and you can do that, or you can pretty much do that for any other game that has been dying for.
I just wonder if you can. Do you think digital purchases from PS4 will be able to be moved to PS5?
Well,
because like Bloodborne is a PS Plus game, but it's a PS Plus game on PS4.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a unified system. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to say, hey, I know you bought this digitally, but you can't bring it over, or it was a PS Plus game and you can't bring it over. A lot of people are going to get really angry because they invested a lot of time and money into those libraries, and for it not to be transferable, it's gonna.
I honestly still regret trading in my PS3 because there was a lot of stuff on that. Luckily, one of my best friends, she has a PS3 that she doesn't actually use that often, but she wants to keep it, so I kind of want to be like, hey, if we can download these games onto your PS3 and then you can play them.
Yeah, that's true.
When you have time, and then when I come over, I can play them.
But PlayStation 3 is pretty cheap as of now, and you can also get it for very cheap on at GameStop. Maybe not a big hard drive one, but one of the smaller ones. And
yeah, but then I have to buy something.
Well, yeah, but still, it's available if you're really dying to get back into the PS3.
No, I'm not like really dying to get back, because a lot of things that I had on there got remasters or re-releases, or especially at this point. Yeah, so I'm just hoping we have concerns. As for concerns, I think the coronavirus is a concern.
Yeah, as we speculated last week, it's probably going to end up delaying the next gen launch. Well, at least that's my gut feeling, that the next gen launch will be moved to early next year if this continues to be a big deal.
We'll have to see how the weather changes worldwide affect the virus and affect certain things. because I don't know, because it is flu season still technically, at least here it is. It can be kind of easier to get sick in general. So I'm not saying you can't get the flu in the summer, but like it can still happen, but it's less likely usually.
Yeah.
So like we'll see how coronavirus plays out. If it delays it, one, I don't want to be super negative about it, but I don't think it will delay it too much. And if it delays it, I don't think people should, well, sure, companies and investors maybe can see that as a bad thing, but I don't think players should see that as a bad thing.
Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just...
No. It's unfortunate.
And well, for the companies, it's going to be a bad thing because they're going to miss their fiscal window. And you know how bad that is for business.
Bring on the indie games?
Probably. But yeah, what do you think will be the biggest difference in terms of next gen versus current gen?
Well, yeah, like I said, loading times, because graphics, although they probably look better, it's not... I don't feel like it's not like a leap, because we're at a point where... And I feel like I heard maybe Greg Miller or somebody say this. We're at a point where graphics can be like so realistic that they just like it probably won't visually, although I mean it could get slightly better if you're into like technological things, but on like a base level, I don't think graphics are going to improve like,
that much.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised. I think that's where ray tracing light and ray tracing audio comes in, because that's going to affect how we experience games in such a unique way. And load times being shortened is going to affect the way we experience it, but I think it's going to have developers create more complex worlds, or...
Yeah, no, that was a point in a lot of the Xbox articles, where you could make bigger worlds.
Yeah, or the thing is where in the past they'd hide it behind a lot of the design or architecture of the game world. Now it's like they've been set free to make their wildest dreams come true. I've always said to myself, the thing that'll amaze me most with graphics is when in a sports game, the people standing in the or sitting in the public area, if they look as impressive as the in-game models for the athletes. If we hit that peak, then I'll be really impressed.
Well, hey, maybe Captain Tsubasa will influence more than than we know.
I'm not holding my breath for that one.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have any predictions for, because I don't have like, oh, I predict this will do better than this. As of right now,
yeah,
I think next gen Xbox could have a much stronger start than PlayStation.
Yeah, because
the opposite of this past gen.
Because as of now, Xbox has been very open to letting people enjoy the games on their own terms, and I think it's really freeing for a lot of people to have that as a core message for the game console of choice. And also, since Xbox has been so open about their next gen plans from the beginning as compared to PlayStation, they're driving a lot of the conversation, because also with their next gen delivery system for content, where you can choose which version you want of the game you're buying. Is
that the smart delivery?
Yeah,
thing?
That one.
Okay.
Say you're buying Cyberpunk 2077, and you have the option to choose between the Xbox One X version or the Xbox One Series X version. it's just a whole lot of choice. And
Oh, the upgrading for free, yeah, and then the Cyberpunk did that too. Yeah, right. I remember now.
yeah, that's just going to be a lot to catch up to. Um, but then again, PlayStation has such a dedicated fan base, that even just one whisper can send people off in a frenzy. So yeah, I'm interested to see how long PlayStation can stretch that good faith without having anything substantial. Because the way they've communicated their next gen plans up till now makes it sound like they're not ready for a while.
Yeah, and then there's all this speculation about how, like, there was going to be a PlayStation event maybe in February, and then it's the end of the month and we haven't heard anything. And then now people are predicting that because Sony will not be at E3, if E3 even happens this year, that maybe it'll be in May to coincide with the Last of Us release, because maybe they'll show off the PS5 version or something.
I don't think you want to do that, because people will just end up saying, okay, why am I buying this game now when I can wait for the PS5 version if it's going to look so much better? You don't...
Well, that's the thing. I don't think it's going to look so much better, because it will be... I think it will be more of an enhanced port than a... I don't think it will be using the PS5 to its full potential if it releases on PS5. I think it'll have some improvements and enhancements, but I don't think it's going to be... It's going to be the same game.
Yeah, but still, if you have an option between something that runs better and something that runs a little less better, I think it's going to be a very clear choice, and you don't want to cannibalize your own sales by advertising something that might look better or that will probably run better in the long run for something else.
So, when do you think they're going to reveal more info about PS5?
I think you're looking at closer to E3, because that's the traditional center for big game announcements for the first half of the year.
And there might be a lot more people doing digital presentations this year due to coronavirus.
Yeah. And if it's not around E3, expect them to do that closer to holiday 2020, because it...
So you think it'll definitely take longer to release then in that case?
We assume PlayStation saying they're not ready to reveal their information as them being coy, but maybe they're being very sincere in saying, guys, we're really not ready for all of this. I know you want it, but we're really, really not ready for all of this.
Because competing consoles haven't really come out at the same time, right?
I mean,
isn't there usually like a year of difference?
The gap isn't that big.
Yeah.
But they don't release the same day and date. Definitely not, but...
Because Xbox One and PS4 were...
Well, I think Xbox will probably go on sale during Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Because Xbox being an American brand, and Thanksgiving being probably the biggest American holiday.
Oh no, they were both the same year. So I was thinking of, last gen Xbox 360 and PS3, because PS4 and Xbox One were both released November 2013.
Okay. Yeah, but still, it's probably going to be split across a few weeks or maybe a month, but
depending on how coronavirus could impact it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah. And other stuff. I'm sure there are other factors too.
Yeah, because these days console makers also have to compete with mobile phones for their silicon hardware.
Yeah, Xbox 360 and PS3 were a year apart.
Yeah, And since mobile phones have been gobbling up the resources that traditionally have gone to computers and video games and TVs, it's going to be a bit trickier to navigate through all of that.
Yeah, again, like I said, we'll have to wait and see what happens. I do hope we get some information about just like when they're thinking about doing like revealing more information about PS5. I don't need more information about the PS5 itself yet if they're not ready, but if they just say like, "Hey, we're going to share more information around this time," then I'll be like, "Okay, thank you."
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious to see what happens. And then like we got Nintendo over here doing their own thing.
Yeah. Was it the president of Nintendo that said that the Switch is more or less on the half of its life cycle? So in 3 or 2 years, you're probably looking at a Switch successor or something radically different.
Not like a Switch Pro or anything?
Switch Pro is not coming this year. That's been confirmed by the Nintendo president. But maybe next year. But the next thing by Nintendo is probably 3 or 2 years away.
Isn't the average console cycle supposed to be like 4 years or something?
It used to be 5, then it got stretched to 10. And this console.
But then it
Uh-huh.
it might get stretched again.
Yeah.
This console generation.
Has been going on for 6 years.
Yeah, 7.
And it was supposed to be shorter, but the mid-cycle refresh of the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X extended that. It's just all a balancing act of what's available at the time and how cheap you can produce it for the mass market.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Everything is a wait and see with video.
Yeah, especially with all the stuff happening in the world right now. It's just like, ugh. You know, you wish it didn't affect the game industry, but it affects a lot of... It doesn't just affect the game industry. We've just been seeing a lot of it since we have a gaming-focused podcast. We've been seeing it affect a lot of stuff. But yeah, hopefully things get better with the virus and that next gen is still on the way, and we have more games to look forward to in the future. I don't think I have any big games planned until Animal Crossing comes out.
Me either. I'm not really looking forward to much at the moment. Well, Animal Crossing, sure. I'll just say Animal Crossing too.
Yeah, look out for our Animal Crossing special episode featuring our first guest, Nicole B, which will be probably the week after Animal Crossing comes out.
Yeah.
Not the week of, because it comes out on a Thursday night / Friday morning. So, but yeah, final thoughts are watch Ultraman, I guess. You know what? No, watch Ultraman instead of watching Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. They're completely different, but do that.
Yeah, watch Ultraman. I second that.
You'll be more entertained. Even if you don't like Ultraman, you'll be more entertained, I swear.
Yeah.
And I think that we're just gonna about wrap it up here.
Yeah.
So, see y'all
Till next time.